What's up, everybody? Well, I got another unboxing video for you guys today, and today we have another monitor. I decided to go ahead and just grab that 27-inch 4K screen, that mini LED one, the 1400 lumens one, and it can also go between 4K, 100 and I believe 80 hertz. And remember, it can also ship between 1080p, 320 hertz, so it's like one of those dual mode screens. So that's pretty cool. As a matter of fact, I am pretty sure, just like my OLED that's right off to the right, I'm pretty sure this is the exact same panel that goes in those $1,000 like ASUS and LG screens. You just don't get all the fancy smancy ASUS and other companies stuff all over the outside. You just get KTCs. And I'm not gonna lie, at least judging by what it looks like, they actually put some effort into this one. It made it look pretty cool. All my other ones are pretty bare bones compared to this one. Either way, why don't we stop wasting time and actually start the unboxing? All right. As usual, we'll take a very quick look around the box. This one actually they tried to make look pretty cool. They got like some anime character here. They got a picture of the actual unit. A little thing on the top that says front, a key to combat. I'd show you the top, but I can't really think of a good way to show you. Man, this thing's hefty. I'll break my damn little cheap ass table here. We've got like our actual model number and all that good stuff. This is an M27P6. I feel like no matter what, the middle number is almost always the size of the screen. At least that's what it's been on the other KTC monitors I bought. And I think the back is a carbon copy of the front, so pretty easy unboxing so far. And then the other side is just a carbon copy pretty much of the other side with a few more caveats. It's got like a thing telling it to ship from someplace to the people that bought it, not my address, so I don't care. Then you got another model number thing, then you got yet another model number thing and boxing number. There's like so many stickers on this thing. I took off my address, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think there's 12 or 13 stickers on this bitch. But whatever, I would say that is probably about that. So, before I break my table, why don't we get to actually unboxing this bad mamma jamma? Well, all right, I went and collected a random unboxing knife, because you gotta have a cool unboxing knife, so this time we'll just go with this one. Now, none of these are very expensive. There's only like 2 that are like over $100. I just go by coolness factor. And especially then I don't feel bad about using it for shit like that. If I had like a $2,000 knife, that shit would just stay in a whatchamacallit, like a little display case and never get used ever under any circumstance. All right, we got our little guys here. I think there's just 2 of them. Yeah, I think, yep, that was the only thing I had to cut. Yeah, and then we are greeted with, now last time I did unboxing, I dumped half of the shit out on the floor, scaring the hell out of my cat and myself, so this time. All right, that doesn't come off. Does this come out? No? Okay. Now this time we're just gonna be smart. I have pretty strong grip strength, but these things have such a vacuum to them that we're just gonna do this the right way right off the bat. We're just gonna flip this bitch upside down and then carefully pull the box off and hope to God the thing doesn't fall. Actually, you know what? We're gonna use my bum hand to kind of hold shit in place. See, it still happened. That same thing happened. I lost the power brick in the other video. Alrighty, bam. So, got ourselves a couple more things here. At least this part didn't fall out. That would have made some noise. That's its base. Or no, the base fell out. This is its arm. Come out of there, you. Alrighty. Grab that. I'm just gonna set it on my chair behind me. We'll just let that fall. I'm holding the most important part because we definitely don't want that to fall. Couldn't care less about the rest of the stuff. None of that's gonna break. I was just concerned with this guy. So now let's just gently set him down like that. It's all in plastic and shit, so it's not like I'm gonna get any fingerprints on it or nothing. Let's also resituate our camera a little bit because now we don't have that enormous box to contend with. So let's go see, did I break anything? I think it just made a bunch of noise. We lost that, and where'd the other part go? Ah, the thing that almost got my toes. That is a chonker. Look at that thing. That's almost like a laptop one. But there's like no moving parts in there, so I seriously doubt anything broke from that. So now, why don't we quickly go over everything that came in the box? Then we'll put the thing together, take a closer look at it, and then turn it on and see how it runs, and maybe we'll even compare it to the other couple monitors I have. I think that'd be kind of fun. So here's what you get in the actual package. You get your extended warranty card, which they make very easy to activate. Then you get your actual display guide here, or user guide, whatever you want to call it. And then they even do a little calibration test, which I thought was pretty cool. Not every monitor does that, so I think it's neat. But that's pretty much that for the paperwork. So now, what else do we get? We get ourselves, if we can focus in on it, there we go, autofocus button for the win. You get yourself a USB-C cable. You get yourself a display port cable. Obviously, you get yourself a power cord and of course, the power brick, one of the things that fell down and almost crushed my foot, but that was my bad. I should have grabbed that stuff as it was falling, but I was too scared I was gonna let loose and forget to actually hold the monitor, and then the monitor would fall, and then we'd have a big old problem. Then, of course, you have the base, and then the bottom of the base. It's one of those ones where you just turn the little screw, either by hand or with a screwdriver, whatever you desire. And then last but not least, before we get to the monitor itself, we have the actual arm, which, I don't know, I think they actually made it look pretty nice, for the cost anyway. This is an under $500 monitor. And then it can do all sorts of twisting and all that stuff, just like the other one that I got recently, the 1440p one. I have a very base model 1080p monitor one that can literally only make the screen go up and down, and that's it, or tilt, I guess. Up and down would be, you know, a little bit more of an advanced step. So I guess now we're pretty much ready to put the thing together and actually check out the screen itself, because I don't want to just manhandle the screen out of the bag and get fingerprints all over it. So I'll just build it and we'll take a look at the actual screen, the ports, and all that shit. Just something to note of, I noticed while I was putting it together. There's a little piece of foam they use so the thing doesn't like swivel around or whatnot. Make sure you take this out from the back before you start trying to move stuff around. I almost moved it and I was like, huh, it doesn't really seem to swivel or anything. I thought I advertised all that stuff. Looked back there, saw this. If I would have tried to, I probably would have broke something. I just wanted to point that out just so nobody does any monitor breakage. Well, there she is in all her glory, all built, put together. Super simple. Don't even need instructions. You pretty much just look at it and go, oh, this obviously goes here, this obviously does that kind of thing. But I think it looks quite nice compared to all the other monitors. Heck, it even looks better than my OLED screen that I got from them. That's right over here. That just has like a super basic screen. It's kind of like an in-between of the other two monitors I have, where it can do like, I think it can do tilt and it can move up and down a little bit, but it can't like, I don't think it can swivel. I don't think it can do this kind of stuff, but it can also, you know, go up and down. I think that one, I don't know if that one can actually do this. I'd have to try it. I don't even know if it can do the swiveling thing either, but I know for a fact it can at least go like this. But that's fine. This is a 4K screen anyway. They probably tout this as technically being a superior screen to my OLED screen, although I don't think it's gonna be. I think most people will take the 1440p 240Hz OLED over this thing, but this thing does have that cool, I think it's 160Hz 4K screen or 320Hz 1080p if you're into esports. You can do both. You can have your cake and eat it too. So now that we've had a quick look at the front, why don't we take a quick gander at the back and the ports and all that stuff. Wow, this one's actually kind of heavy. I can't as easily wield this one like I can all the other ones. So there's the back of the thing. Again, I think they made it look quite nice. You've got the exact same power button as all the rest of them. I mean, it might not be literally the exact same one, but it's in the exact same place, and it's one of those ones that, you know, you click it to turn on and off, and then you use it as a, whatchamacallit, joystick. If I remember correctly, down was always brightness and all the rest of them, so it's probably the same on this one. Now, I was just gonna easily pick it up and show you guys the ports underneath, but I think instead I'm gonna be safe, and we're just going to bring this thing up as high as it can go, turn it, and then I think, nope, I guess it can't. Why would it be able to do that? I was like, maybe it can just turn down really hard. I'm just gonna grab the camera off of the tripod for you guys. I don't wanna risk breaking anything, so it might get a little jiggly. I don't know how good this thing's image stabilization is. It's just, whatchamacallit, but you've got yourselves, let me hit the autofocus button for you. There you go. So you've got two USBs. You also have a USB hub, which is interesting. I didn't actually see the USB, oh, you know what? Try that USB-C. You can use that for the hub or for video. That thing can do all sorts of cool shit. Then you have an HDMI 1, an HDMI 2, and a display port. And then that Type-C, an earphone, and of course, DC 24-volt in. So, not too bad. It's definitely got a pretty good amount of ports, I would say. But I think that's about it for the boring stuff. Why don't we go ahead, get it all. I'm gonna go grab the computer I originally got this thing for, that PS5 Pro similar PC, and then we'll go from there. I like that autofocus button. I just kind of all of a sudden was just like, huh, I wonder if AF stands for autofocus. What happens if I push it? And now instead of me having to accidentally fiddle around with the other way I was focusing, which was hitting that first button and waiting to hear a beep, you can just hit autofocus and it just bling, it autofocuses in. If it can, it will. But let's get started and stop talking about autofocus. Don't know, I'm stoned. That's probably why I went off on an autofocus tangent. All right, well, real quick, I just thought it'd be kind of fun to set all the different KTC monitors up side by side. Figured can't do that if I have a computer all hooked up and ready to go. We've got ourselves the cheapest 1080p panel in the middle there, 240Hz IPS, nothing too special. I think that was like $120 or something on sale. Then next to it over here, that's another 24-inch, but that one is 1440p 180Hz. And very nice, has a couple more features too. It can do more stuff like tilt, swivel, and all that. All the cheaper one can do is tilt, but that's the only one besides the expensive one that has a metal base. The other one's all made out of plastic. Most of the expensive one is plastic too. Just the OLED and the base of the $400 4K screen have metal. But at least the whole base of the OLED panel is all metal. Even the thing that holds it is metal. So that's at least cool. But it doesn't look as nice as the 4K screens, I would say. So then, over to the furthest right, we have the OLED. The 27-inch, it's 240 hertz OLED, and it has been an awesome screen. It's pretty much the same screen that used to be in that $1,000 LG panel. It just didn't have all the other bells and whistles that the LG put on it. It's just same panel with less cool stuff. Just a KTC shell. That's pretty much what you get. Nice panel, but then you get, you know, not the world's best shell, but I still think it's more than adequate. Then of course we have the newbie, the 4K/120 hertz, or 1080p and 4K, what was it? 160 hertz for 4K and 320 for the 1080p. Got too many monitors here. All those numbers are just all jumble-bumbly in the head there. Being super stoned doesn't help either, probably. But hey, when you got social anxiety like I do, that's the one thing that works. If it wasn't for that, I'd be too scared to even make these videos. So, kinda sucks can't really go anywhere though, unless you have somebody drive you, because I'm not about to start driving around high. That would be retarded. But anyway, now that we've gotten this out of the way, I just thought it'd be kind of fun. You know what? We might even verse them against each other too, once we get that computer all hooked up. Obviously, I'm not going to disconnect the OLED from the other screen, so it won't be like a computer versus a computer then, but we'll still play like the same game on that computer. I think I'll probably just pick Cyberpunk. It's one of my favorite games to test. Anyway, enough blabbery. Let's get that computer hooked up, get that thing turned on, and see what it's like. Well, all right, we're all hooked up and ready to go. I plugged it in. I saw it do the same splash screen as all the rest of the monitors, so it at least powers on. I didn't break the brick or anything by dropping it. I figured not. There's like nothing in there to really break. Unless I really threw it off something really tall, maybe it could break off a capacitor or something in there, maybe. But those are pretty soldered on there, pretty damn good. Anyway though, since this is such a nice monitor, I figured we would treat it like we do a new PC build, and we'll christen it with a quick hit for good luck. Then we'll turn it on and make sure it actually works and doesn't have a bunch of dead pixels or half the screen is like dead or some bullshit like that. So let's get started. All right, let's see what happens. I gotta be so careful with the placement of that video card. That fan gets so close to that new monitor. All right, let's see what it does. It went into power saving mode, so I don't know if it'll display anything. I might have to go in there and pull down or pull to the side. I think it's right for input. Or it might just start displaying something. I don't know what's gonna happen. All right, usually it would have displayed something by now. I know what I'll do. I'll just, since it has something to actually see now, let's just unplug it and plug it back in. And then it'll hopefully auto find the correct, you know, doobie. No? Fine. Now I gotta try to not chop my finger off getting to this input selector. There we go. Had to do a little work, but now we should, in theory, I'm hoping, see a picture. Come on, picture, you know you wanna work. Nope, no signal. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, well, I guess I'm gonna do a little sleuthing and see what's what. Maybe it is broken after all. My guess is I probably just didn't plug in something all the way. Yep, I was 100% correct. So just to make sure everything gets seen correctly, since the screen wasn't on, let's just do a quick restart. Make sure everything's good, everything's fine. Otherwise, who knows? I think everything is plug and play now, but I don't know. I would just be more comfortable doing it that way. And then I will probably have to up the brightness. It does not look very bright. So if I remember correctly, if it's like all the rest of the monitors, it should be down. Oh, it took away my shit. All right, it says it's 4K. All right, that's input. All right, then what does this do? All right, we got to figure out how to make the brightness go up. Maybe you just push it. Oh, okay. Oh, no, that is 100% brightness. I'm just gonna go with normal. How do you exit? Oh, I get it. All right, cool. We're learning. So no, that is as bright as it gets. I thought it just was a little dim, you know, but we are under my studio lights things here and everything. I don't know though, it doesn't really look brighter than my OLED, and my OLED is only like a 1000 hertz nits brightness, and this is supposed to be 1400. Maybe it has to be like under HDR content or something like that. That could be. I bet you that's what it is, because I don't even think we have HDR enabled. So let's go do that. Also, I gotta get speakers, otherwise you guys aren't gonna hear anything. I don't think this thing has any built-in speakers. Or if it does, they sure does hell don't work right off the bat. All right, display. I would think HDR would be in display, wouldn't you? Yeah, no, it is on, okay. Ah, and you can make it brighter if you want to, okay. See, you can make it super fucking bright, but then you might get burn-in, so. Let's put it like I have my other OLEDs. It's not an OLED, so we don't gotta worry about burn-in anyway. Actually, that's right, it's not an OLED. We can just max that shit, why the fuck wouldn't we? I'm so used to being careful with my OLEDs, even though I don't think you really have to be. There we go, that now looks more like what I was thinking. I was like, man, I'm not impressed with the brightness, you know? But alright, I have to go get some speakers, and then I'm going to go download us a game, probably Cyberpunk 2077, and we're going to go ahead and see what this thing can do. Well, alright, I figured instead of starting off with, you know, either the best screen or second best screen, compared to that OLED, whatever you want to call it, I figured let's start with the weakest screen first and work our way up. So we're going to start with this 24-inch 1080p 240Hz screen. It's just IPS. The only thing it can do is this, which it doesn't like, apparently. Because apparently, since I use it so often, I plug things in so much more than anyone else is ever going to, I'm sure I'm wearing out those ports. That yours probably will not do that shit if you move yours up and down like that. But we're going to hop on in, try out some Cyberpunk, then we'll hook up the 1440p screen, and then we'll probably do the OLED, even though I think the OLED's probably going to be the best. We're obviously not going to make the star of the video, you know, second best and last, when it's the whole point we're making the video in the first place, you know? So, let's go hop on into the game. Let's go get started. Alright, so first off, I figured we'd go over to settings. Of course, we're going to do 1080p, full screen. No VSync or no maximum FPS or anything. We don't want nothing getting in the way. And then I just picked high preset, and then just turned off, like, FSR, because Bakelite is a little weird. Normally, you'd be able to use FSR 4.1, but you can't on Bakelite right now. So instead of using 3 or 2, I just figured since we're only at 1080p, we shouldn't need any upscaling. So I just went with high. I figured that's a good setting for a system like this, especially at 1080p. You could probably go a little higher if I'm honest. But alright, let's run a quick benchmark real quick just to see what kind of FPSs we'll get at this resolution and all that good stuff. And then we'll of course get some gameplay after that. Well, benchmark's all done. We got ourselves an average of 120 FPS, a minimum of 92, and the max 146. So not too awful bad. But now that we've gotten done with that, let's hop on in and let's actually play the game and see if it stutters, see how it looks, and all that stuff. Well, now here we are in the game. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing with my with the controller in this game for the most part. I played that whole thing multiple times, keyboard and mouse. But it's so annoying on these computers to just kneel or something. So that's why I always just use controller. It's so much easier on my back and knees and all that stuff.
That means you're still kicking.
But yeah, as you can see, since we're already in the 80s and 90s, it's already kind of hard just to stay above 60 just going 1440p. Though we are a little CPU bottleneck, so I think that's why it still works out. I think when we put it to 1440p on the same high settings, I think it drops into the like 89, 88 average or 90 average, something like that. 4K won't even be able to hit 60.
Damn it, I need more time. I've got a lot going on.
We'll need upscaling. Luckily, if you're on Windows, you'll just have FSR 4, so it's not a big deal. But it sucks when you have to fall back to 3, or if you can't use Intel's solution. I'll almost always just go with Intel's solution over anything AMD does, unless I can use 4. Or 4.1 or something like that. But yeah, pretty damn smooth game. Every once in a while I have like a hiccup, but for the most part it's like buttery smooth. Oh, I almost got ran over by a street sweeper. I'm really good at getting run over. I'm surprised I haven't been run over yet. Almost every video I get run over by a car at some point or another, so I'm sure it'll happen sooner or later. Yeah, for a 24-inch 1080p panel, this still looks great. Like if I was actually sitting here playing and I was actually like this close to it, this wouldn't be so bad. Now, personally, I'm still a little spoiled. I'd like a little bit more, but that's only because I've tasted all that stuff. If this was like my first entry to a computer, I'd be more than happy with this. I wouldn't sit here and go, oh, gross. This is only 1080p. This looks horrible. Oh my god, the frame rate's so terrible. I'd be like, wow, this is like smooth as butter. Everything looks great. We don't got lame-ass motion blur on. It's great. Yeah, I crashed into you boxes. That's right, I'm gonna knock you over, bitch. Huh, 3 mouse, 1 desire. I wonder what that desire is. Anyway though, I think 3 minutes of chilling and running around is more than adequate. I'm gonna quit out, hook up the 1440p 24-inch screen, the 1-up model of this, and we'll see how that does. Alright, now for the 1440p 180Hz screen, the 1-up from the 1080p one. This one's like $140. Obviously 1440p, 180Hz IPS screen. Nothing fancy like mini LED or anything fancy, but still. Same exact settings though that we just did on 1080. All we did was up the resolution. So there's no upscaling helping it or nothing. We're just doing high preset, no ray tracing, no nothing. Because if we were going to do ray tracing and all that, it'd probably be like a 30-40 FPS experience if we didn't use upscaling, you know? So with that said, let's run a quick bench just for funs, then we'll go get ourselves some actual in-game footage too. So benchmark just got done. We averaged 80.96, so it did a little worse than I thought it was going to do. But still more than adequate, over 60, that's for sure. So our minimum was 70, and our max was 95. 95.95. And obviously all the rest of the settings are exactly the same. We didn't change anything, but alright. Why don't we go actually get ourselves some gameplay? Well now, here we are back in the game. 1440p high settings. And yeah, even though it's still 24 inches, definitely looks a little bit crispier. Even from back here, although I do have pretty ungodly eyes, so I'm gonna notice imperfections like crazy, as most people wouldn't. So if you do a side-by-side, it's definitely crispy, but it's not like it makes the 1080p look like absolute garbage like some people like to complain. That was still a very nice experience at 24 inches, but I wouldn't want to go any higher than 24 inches with a 1080p panel. That's just me. Maybe it's just my good eyes getting in the way, but once you get up to 27, I think you really should just be 1440p. I think 4K is a little ridiculous at that stage, but hey, that's the kind of screen size I got. I think that's more for like 34 plus.
Damn it, I
And if
need
you
more
were going to get like a
time.
100-inch screen or something, I'd go 8K if you could. But 8K screens aren't really that common. I don't even know if there are, I think there is, but it's like $100,000. There's like some OLED screen, 100-inch OLED screen, but it's ridiculous. And I think they even have like even more expensive, like $500,000 or $1 million rolling OLEDs that roll down from your ceiling for the super ultra wealthy. That's super not me. That's stuff for billionaires.
All right,
Me, I'm just a lowly millionaire. Darn.
Don't see those.
I don't give a shit. All I care about is having fun every day, and I get to do that, so I'm more than happy with what I've got. I'm not going to sit here and lust for more. As long as the stock market is this, I'll lose a bunch of times in it. I'm going to keep making more and more money as time goes on anyway. And continue to just making videos for you guys and having fun playing video games. It's great. I wish everybody could just do what they wanted and do all day, but then the world would collapse, so unfortunately that's just not a thing. I just get to be lucky. But at least I don't go around rubbing it in people's faces like, haha, you go to work, loser, or anything like that. That's fucking lame. People that do that are stupid. I just take my luckiness and then thank you for it. The only thing I think I've ever used it as a brag was when somebody tried to call me poor. Since I did used to be poor, it's kind of nice to rub it in people's faces. Like, nope, not anymore. I may not be the richest motherfucker around, but I got a lot more money than the average person. Most people would kill to be able to do what they want every day. That's just a fact, you know? Such a good game. I like this game. I put quite a few hours into it. I think over 120. I still have to beat it again on this character, I think, though.
Veterans will change.
No, sorry, bro. But we've gotten to about 3 minutes. That's about what we did on the 1080p screen. So now, why don't we go and see what the OLED can do? Although, we'll do a benchmark anyway. It's not apples to apples because it's not going to be hooked up to the same computer. But we'll still do it just so you guys can see the differences between the two computers just for fun. Alright, even though this is a different computer, I just thought it'd be fun to run the benchmark and everything anyway. But different computer, so this thing is an OLED. It would have no different performance than the normal 1440p screen on the other computer had we run run the same test. I just didn't want to rip this thing out of here, move it over there, do all that rigmarole. I just like leaving it right where the hell it is. That way I know it's not going to have as much of a time getting broken, you know? So, we're at 1440p just like we were before. We're going to use HDR since we might as well. We're not doing any screen recording or anything. We're just camera recording it, so we want it to look as good as it can. We'll do the same thing on the other guy. And might as well use a mouse. Mouse is so much easier for moving around in here. And I have it on the high preset. I just turned off stuff like this and like film grain and stuff. So that's why it says custom. Up the field of view. Turned basically all of this garbage off because I don't like pretty much any of that when I'm playing. And I don't think any of it has anything to do with frame rate. And we're just testing monitors out anyway. I'm just showing you guys benchmarks just for shits and giggles. This is more about how the monitor looks more than anything. But now, let's just run a benchmark just for some fun and see what it can do. Well, it just got done running the benchmark, and this is kind of just for fun. It's a completely different PC, so it's not like all of a sudden it's like, wow, you can go OLED and all of a sudden went from 80 to 127. Nope, completely different computer. This one's got a 9070 in it, so that's quite a performance jump. Especially when you have a more powerful CPU on top of having a better GPU and all that other stuff, it adds up. But we got 127 FPS average at the same exact settings. No upscaling or anything helping it out. Same as we ran on the other computer. Other than it being a different computer, we at least kept the settings the same. We got 101 minimum and 160 max. And that's pretty much that. And if we really wanted to, we could have turned FSR4 on and got even more FPS. But if I'm getting 127 FPS, might as well just use that. Unless FSR4 just looked that much better, then might as well take the free performance. But I've noticed upscaling is almost every single one of them has some issues here and there if you really look for them. So if I can still have native without garbage TAA, I will. But if it's got garbage TAA, I'm at least going to turn on DLAA or use FSR4 as anything. Anyway, enough blabbery. It is time for some gamering. Let's get ourselves a little gameplay now on the OLED. And yeah, once you step up to this kind of shit, it definitely blows the other two cheaper monitors out of the way. But this thing was like $5.99 back when I got it. So it is quite a bit more expensive. So most people would say, it damn well better be better, you know?
I think I'm getting old.
Aren't we all? Here's a fun fact. Every single day, we're getting a little older. That's my useless fact for the day. Hey guys, what's on? Wow. Psychedelic apple, orange, lemon?
Fucking mamona.
So vibrant, so bright. And this, I do believe, isn't quite as bright as the other screen. I think this maxes out at like 1200. The other one's like 1400. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I don't really think my human eye would be able to tell a huge difference between it, but we'll see once we go into the game. As long as Bazzite doesn't let me not use HDR, but it's got HDR in the settings, so it damn well better work in game, you know what I mean? Man, I think my stock battery for this camera is already getting cooked. It's like fresh and it's already down to 2 bars. And we're getting like 3 minutes of footage, although we did the whole unboxing on it and everything too, so I guess there's that. Oh, what did I leave behind here? Oh, I remember what happened. I started throwing everything on the ground because I like got over encumbered and like couldn't move. That's a problem. I like being able to move. Being able to move is badass. I'll take those components, thank you. You got anything else on you? Yeah, I'll take those Euro dollars. You obviously don't need them. See, I don't really need that. Can I dismantle it off of it? No. I thought I could dismantle it right off the cuff. I think I have to do that in my inventory in this game. Play too many games. It's hard to remember what does who and the what now. So I'll probably switch out the battery as soon as I'm done with this. I don't want it running out of battery in the middle of the other one's video. That wouldn't be fair. It is the star of the show, after all. This whole entire video is supposed to be about the new 4K monitor. I just figured, let's compare it to some other ones I have on hand. Most people don't have like 5 or 6 different monitors from the same company to compare it to, so why the hell not? I do. Anyway, though, that's about the 3-minute mark, a little over. Oh well, no big deal if we go a little over. So, now let's go see what that 4K screen looks like. It's not going to get as good FPS, obviously, as this kind of computer, but we'll still see what it can do picture quality-wise. Well, alright, now for the main star of the show, the 4K screen here. Mini LED and all that. Now, I did run into a slight hiccup for the first time. I had to actually do a little sleuthing here on Linux. Well, you know, there's a couple other games I had to mess with a little to get to work properly, but it did what Windows loves to do to me. I came in here, tried to select 4K, it's like, nope, the best I can do for you is 2560 by, not even 1440, it was like by 1211 or some bullshit. So I had to go in and turn Bazite's scaling from 170 to 100%, just like I would have to in some games on Windows. So, it's not perfect, it still needs some help sometimes, but the amount of times I've had to fuck around with this versus Windows is much less so far. Anyway, so that's what we're doing. We're 4K, full screen. We're going to do the same high preset. I don't think we're going to be able to quite get 60 FPS like that, so once we get... So we might go do 2 rounds of this one. We might go do it native, and then we'll go turn on some upscaling. I'll probably just use Intel's, but we're on the same high preset as we were for all the other monitors. But my guess is it'll probably get like 45-ish average like this. Just a guess. Who knows? Maybe it'll surprise me though. But let's waste no more time. Do a quick benchmark. We'll run around the game for a second, and then like I said, we'll try some upscaling too, because even the PS5 does most of its stuff with upscaling. It does not do native 4K in most games, especially not in this one. Wow, it got pretty much 40 FPS, 39.27. Minimum was 35. Max was 45. So this is definitely would not be my version of an enjoyable game, but a lot of people would still rather have graphics and not have upscaling and all that stuff. But we'll try some upscaling next, just for fun, because most people would be able to just turn on some FSR4 as well. Me, I'm going to have to probably use Intel's option, because I am not going to use FSR 2.1 or 3, because that's going to look like poopy. But anyway, let's go get a little bit of gameplay like this first, though, before we worry about any of that. Well, here we are in the game. It definitely looks crisp, but I am not enjoying the 40 FPS, I can tell you that. It's more manageable with a controller, but I bet if I went over here... Oh yeah, that feels disgusting with a mouse. Yeah, with a controller it's not as bad, but it still feels pretty disgusting. But it does look pretty crisp. And I do HDR, but in classic Linux faction, it didn't let me. It didn't detect this as an HDR screen. Just like it does on my Steam Deck. My Steam Deck OLED has an HDR screen, but a lot of games just don't see it that way. So if you're using Windows, like 90% of people probably would, you'd be fine. You'd be able to turn all that stuff on just fine. I mean, this has, what was it, 1400 hertz, or not hertz, like lumens or something like that, so it's more than adequate for HDR. Hell, even without it, this looks as bright, if not brighter, than HDR did. You see nothing.
¡Llévala de chingada!
Doing with the controller. So much fun still. I'm not good with the controller, but we still got it done. But I don't know how to block. Normally I would just block all this back after. Ah, there we go. This one. Okay. Well, now I know for next time. Oh yeah, I should probably have looted them. Maybe they have some Euro dollars. Euro. Alright. What you got? You got some Euros. Anyway though, let's go turn on some upscaling, shall we? Well, alright. We're just gonna leave it as a base 4K resolution, of course, and leave everything else alone on that screen. And then all I did besides that was put on some Intel XeSS Super Resolution 2.0 balanced, because I still think it looks a little bit better than 3.0 FSR. Obviously 4.0 FSR clears it, but we can't use that right now. That's just a Bazzite representation though. It's not like the monitor did that or anything, just to be clear. So, other than that, let's just quickly scroll on down here. Just so you see no funny business, didn't turn anything else on or off. It's the exact same high presets that we had, minus a few tweaks I did, but we did that on all the screens and all the resolutions. So now let's run that benchmark one more time and then we'll get ourselves just a little bit more gameplay. So benchmark's all done. We averaged 73 FPS. And then we got a minimum of 65 and a max of 83. So we should stay over 60 most of the time. I bet you there's some spots in the game where we still drop into the high 50s. Like you go to Dogtown or something like that, for example, then that would probably do it. I'd go there myself for all these benchmarks, but I already beat the whole area and I'm kicked out of there. I absolutely cannot go back into it. I'd have to make a new game and I don't know how long it takes to get back there. So I didn't really think that was worthwhile just for a little monitor video. Hey, let's jump into the game, get ourselves some actual gameplay. Alright, let's get ourselves a little camera record gameplay with the upscaling now at 4K base resolution.
In exchange, the police are offering the chance of a criminal record reset.
Yeah, it doesn't look that bad. It would look much better if we could use FSR 4, but alas, we cannot yet. But soon. I heard it's going to be available on the Steam machine. And I'm using SteamOS, and almost anything SteamOS has, this has, plus a little extra. Anyway.
Go back to the now! Go, motherfucker, go!
¡Concéntrense!
Routine inspection has shown machines corrupted with malware. Police experts have confirmed the identified virus can lead to cyberware failure and, in extreme cases, death. In response to increased gaming activity, the mayor's office has raised the
That's some cool knife tricks you got there, bro.
Oh no, no, fuck! I am the handsome.
You're nothing. That's not it. Anyway, I think that's probably more than good. Why don't we go ahead and go wrap the video on up now? Well, alright guys, that's a wrap for the video. I decided to just kind of test it against a bunch of other KTC monitors I have. Thought that'd be kind of fun, and it did a great job. Yeah, ran into a little small problem. I was like, oh no, it's not stuck in that 1080p mode, is it? But no, ended up being Bazzite doing what window scaling does. Sometimes games see window scaling or Bazzite scaling apparently as not having full resolution. So that's why I just went and put it to 100%, fix the problem, lickety split. Either way though, I think this thing is a pretty damn good buy. I got it for like $445 or something, or $450. I think it was $450. Obviously, plus tax and all that stuff. But it was a little cheaper than the OLED. You don't have to worry about burn-in. It's not gonna have as nice blacks, but still not bad. And it still looked way better than like the other two IPS screens. I don't think I really saw a bunch of backlight bleed or anything like that. I'd have to go put a completely black image on there to really test that, but I was already seeing a little bit of that just going in and out of like the start screens on the two cheaper screens. So there's that. But I think it's pretty damn good value for what it is. Looks nice, performs well. I mean, if you don't care about name brand, and it's the same kind of screen that's in the expensive monitors anyway. So anybody that tries to make fun of you for having a terrible screen, be like, oh man, you didn't get the $1,000 LG screen, you brokey. And then you can go ahead and back, yeah, it's the same screen. I got the same exact screen as you for like less than like $300 less. So that kind of makes you look stupid. Although I've had people do that, actually very recently. Somebody bragged about spending more for the same thing. I'm like, that's just fucking stupid. I don't care what anyone says, that is stupid. It's the same exact product, it doesn't matter. The fact that you paid more about it and overly bragging makes you kind of dumb. Just in my opinion anyway. I'm sure other people would see it differently. But I think they saw it as a brag of, I have so much money that I'm willing to spend more on the same product as you because I'm just better than you kind of mentality. No idea. Either way, that is all for the video. Don't think I'll probably do a review on this. There's other people that have probably already done this monitor much better. Now the other two, I might, because last time I looked, both of those other ones just have like AI videos besides my unboxing video, like little AI videos of like stock Amazon footage being like, you should buy this monitor. This monitor is really cool. It features blah, 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 blah. And you're like, okay, wow, no, this is not useful for anyone. Why is this even allowed on here? But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And I'd do a peace out with that hand, but it's still a healing. Hopefully it can get a little bit better, but that might be all the mobility I get out of it. But whatever, I'm still glad that I did what I did, because that pervert deserved that. You don't get to sexually assault my mom and then assault my stepdad and get away with it. You're getting socked straight in the jaw. But anyway, that is all. So I'll just do a peace out with the old left hand because it actually works properly. And until the next video.